I have seen God and lived to talk about it. Would you like to know how that's possible? My name's Dakota Lee. I was born with a gift to see beyond this physical world. When I was 8 years old, I saw angels for the first time. 10 years old, I saw Jesus for the first time. And when I was 12 years old, God did something really amazing with me. He started inviting me to come visit heaven. A lot of people have the question, or well, they kind of put it a little rudely, like, you can't possibly have seen God because nobody can see God's face and live. And it's a legitimate question. But I asked God this, how come I have seen you? I see you, and I'll describe what he looks like, at least to me. And God told me something that really helped me understand. He said, Dakota, imagine the sun, the physical sun in the sky. And I go, okay, yes. And he goes, can you look at the sun? And I go, well, no. And God said, yet there are scientists who have developed cameras with filters on them and special lenses to take pictures of the sun, right? And I go, yes, there are. And God said, the same is with me. Dakota, you cannot comprehend my full glory, but the image that I'm giving you is one that I have filtered in a way that helps you understand me better. The same way those scientists look at the sun to understand it better, they're not seeing the full glory of the sun. I'm not seeing God's full glory, and yet what I see helps me understand him. So here's what God looks like. The way I see God is he's about as big as a house now. When I first started seeing God when I was 12, I looked at him. He looked like the size of a giant football player if I was the size of a toddler. And since then he's just grown. So now, because my perception of him has grown, so now I can fit on his hand, actually more like this. I'm like about this tall, about this tall on his hand, and he can just wrap me up in his hand, especially on days if I'm really overwhelmed and I kind of need a break. Take a big deep breath, and God has told me before, Dakota, don't come out until you feel better. Thank you, God. I see him. He has often about shoulder length hair. It's kind of wavy, and he has not like a full beard. And when I see him, I often see him like with a light beard, sometimes clean shaven. He seems to have a really square jaw, and his skin is, honestly, I as much as I see God, I don't think I can still tell you the color of his skin, because it does have a golden tone to it, but the more I look at his skin, the more colors I see. The darker, the lighter, the brighter, the shinier. I guess that is a way of saying there's all skin tones in there. But his eyes are really amazing, because his eyes, they are like a white galaxy. If you can imagine, when we see a galaxy, it's on a black background. But if you could imagine that same beautiful pictures of like a galaxy, another image from space that we often see through special lenses, but like a white galaxy with so many colors and glittering and layers, and it just flashes, and yet understands you better than you understand yourself. That is looking at God. He often sits on his throne, but he'll also walk with me through heaven. And he is such a voice of reason, and God doesn't often speak harshly to me. It makes me sad when I hear other Christians in particular talk about God and how he's always correcting them. And that's there sometimes, but sometimes God speaks to you the way that you're expecting to be spoken to, because he's working with that and he's trying to improve upon that. And God is so kind, and we forget, or maybe just don't know, how human he is. He is God, he is different, but we're his kids. And so he loves to laugh. He grieves when you grieve. The pain that you've been through, he didn't want that for you, just so you know. He can make good things of it, but he did not want you to go through that. And that's really important to know, because so many people have pulled away from God because they think he is some dictator in the sky who says he loves you, but really it's like all conditional, and that's not who he is at all. I don't have all the answers, believe me. But this is one thing I do know. He loves you deeply. He doesn't want you in pain. And he has promised us that through simply believing and accepting what he has to offer to us, shown in Jesus Christ, that we can have an amazing life, even if it is the life after this one. I hope this helps.